What's up, everyone? I'm going to make a video on the hip hinge. It's commonly known as the deadlift. It's the same movement for the swing, but I want to actually break down the movement in a little bit more detail than I normally do. So I'm going to run through a few different drills and just kind of show you what it looks like and really what we're trying to get done with it. So I'm going to run a clip and we'll just break it down piece by piece. Okay, let me start off by saying this is not what a hip hinge is. Okay, I probably should have stated that before I ran a clip. What I just demoed is a squat, okay? A hip hinge, and I'll get to it in a second. I'm not really sure why I did a squat first, but I'm sure at the time I had a good reason. I'm going to give you a boxer. This is just going to be a straight edge, okay? My hips, if you forgot where your hips are right there, okay? For a hip hinge, the hip hinge, it's initiated by my hips moving backwards. We'll call it more of a horizontal movement. A squat, on the other hand, is really more of a vertical drop. So imagine there's like a little, there's a little chair here, and I gotta sit down on it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my knees forward. I'm gonna sit down as low as I can. This is not bad form. This is just not a deadlift, okay? So I want to just clarify that getting squatty is not getting hingy, okay? We'll look at a hinge in a second. So squat, hips drop straight down. Keep in mind that for a squat, your knees will move forward, okay? I hate doctors. Oh, your knees shouldn't move forward when you squat. That's garbage. It's garbage. It's not true. I'm not sure what human bodies they work with, but yeah, your knees are they will move forward. Your ankles should have enough mobility for your knees to move forward. This allows your spine to stay straight. From here, I would stand back up. Good. Good rep, but not a hinge. It's not deadlift form. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, that is what a hip hinge looks like. Let's back it up. Okay, I'm at the top. Mind you, I'm standing with tension right here. I'm not a limp noodle. I call this douchebag bro position. When I'm standing up, before I lift the weight, I want to set tension in my body like I'm already holding a weight. So that way when I get down there, I don't need to try to tense up when I grab onto the handle. I'm already tense. From here, and I'm going to give you that line again, my hips are going to go backwards. This is the first thing. Look at that. Backwards, backwards. My knees are bending as they need to allow my hips to go backwards, 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 backwards. Now, I kind of lied when I said your knees aren't going to go forward. Your knees will go forward a tiny bit. The difference here is I've loaded, we'll just say, the posterior chain of my body. So I'm going to say everything close to that line in the back of my body, every single one of those muscles is under tension, okay? I'm going to grab onto my handle, and I'm going to, in a nice fluid manner, push myself back up. So the hips go backward. I push through the floor until I become a column. I'm sitting straight. My legs are locked. My butt is tight. My abs are on, so I'm not doing the limbo. I'm standing tall like someone's going to measure my height. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, let's look at what an incomplete rep looks like. Notice at the top of this movement, boom, my knees, my butt, my abs are all locked together, okay? Again, I'm a straight line. My ears are over my shoulders are over my hips are over my ankles, okay? If I do not lock out, let's call it 3 points of locking. We'll just say my abs, this really is a fancy way of saying my spine. My spine is straight. My hips are locked. My knees are locked. What happens if I lock my knees and my spine, but I don't lock my hips? I don't squeeze my butt at the top. I go back down. Now I get to the top. My legs push, 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 push. Boom! My legs are now locked. They are. My back is, fairly straight, but I'm leaning forward, right? Make sure you squeeze your butt, okay? That will actually drive you to the top. If I do this where I go down again, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my butt, but I'm not going to lock my legs. And I'm going to end up somewhere here. And this is not good. I see a lot of these. I don't want to be doing the limbo when I'm doing the deadlift. I should be standing straight up. Okay? Again, I finish directly over myself. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, let's back it up. I brought a dowel over because I wanted to show you where I'm positioned right now. This is where I'd be if I had a bar, right? If I had a, I'm doing a barbell deadlift. My bar is going to be where the handle is, and the movement is the exact same. I just want to compare and contrast. The hinge, it doesn't matter if what you're lifting. It's still a hinge. I could lift a grocery bag, and it will look the exact same. Okay. I want to skip forward a little bit and show you another drill that's really helpful for just setting your hinge. So I call these dowel deadlifts, dowel hinges, whatever you want to call them. But let's take a look. Okay, the movement has not changed, right? I'm putting a dowel behind my back. I have 3 points of contact. It's contacting my tailbone, right between my shoulder blades, and then the back of my head, okay? From here, again, I initiate the movement by pushing my hips back, 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 back. My knees will bend as they need to let me get into my hinge position. So let's pause here for a second. If I push my butt all the way backwards, my chest will move forward as counterbalance. Okay, this is sort of a simple balance concept. Some people try to do this and they try to have their chest pointing at the wall in front of them, and they feel like they're going to fall backwards. If I do that, I will fall backwards. I need to keep my center of mass, over my body, otherwise I'm going to fall. So my chest will move forward. Okay, we're going to skip forward a bit. Okay, this is also not a hinge. I did lean forward, but again, we want my hips moving backwards. On this one, what happens is I don't push my hips backwards at all. All that I do here is I just kind of tank the top. Some people are able to do this with really, really flexible hamstrings. I wouldn't want to lift a heavy weight this way. Some people go, what's a real lift? Yeah, if you're doing like a straight-legged deadlift or something, it is. But again, we're talking about the most powerful movement, which is the deadlift. Right here, I wouldn't recommend lifting anything like this, okay? Hips need to travel backwards. Let's continue on. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. These are called wall touches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up just like I'm going to do a deadlift. And this is a pretty simple drill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just push my butt back until I hit the wall. So obviously pretty easy. I was pretty close to the wall. I really didn't need to go very far, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step forward, and I'll do another one. Again, not super far. There is a limit to how far forward you can go, mind you, but you'll kind of know when you're there. So I'm going to step forward again. So right about here, this is a good distance for me. If I go any further forward, I don't know if I physically can reach back and touch. If my butt is going to touch the wall, I have to counterbalance by leaning forward. Boom! You can see my key in there in my over baggy jogging pants, which are a little bit lower than they should. From here, I'm going to stand back up. Okay. I'm going to show you a few that I don't want to see. If I push my butt backwards and I don't lean forward enough, I'll actually just fall. So what does falling look like? Let's take a look. Okay, just in case you missed it, let's watch it one more time. That is not a position I can lift anything in because I would have landed on my butt. So I'm reaching, not falling, okay? Let's watch another one. Okay, the very beginning I started off with a squat to show you the difference. If I'm doing this movement, and if I don't start by pushing my hips backwards, and that is the first thing that will move. If I get squatty, meaning I'm sitting, you know, I'm reaching down for a chair, you see how my knees are immediately starting to come forward? This isn't bad, but it's just not a hinge. And from here, you'll know it because look how much distance I have between me and the wall. I can't reach it because I loaded the front muscles of my body, my anterior chain, rather than really loading up the posterior. So now, in order for me to touch the wall, I get here, and I end up doing, you know, kind of a fall. Let's watch that in real time. You'll kind of see what it looks like. So in order for me to touch the wall, because I was squatty, I couldn't reach it, and I ended up, you know, falling backwards again because I didn't load the posterior. So again, I'll do one more. I hinge backwards, 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 backwards. I'm contacting the wall. I had to do this by pushing the hips backwards. The chest will counterbalance. And again, my spine is still, it's not exactly parallel with me. It's hard to do this on a small screen. That's better. My spine is still straight here. But I did this by hinging, not by squatting. So I wanted to break down that in a little bit more detail than I have. Hopefully this helps out. These wall touches, this is a drill that I want a lot of people working on. I'm going to get it set. Hips move first. Backwards, 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 until I contact the wall. Once I'm there, I'm going to push my feet through the ground and stand up. This is a drill I recommend doing before swings, before deadlifting, especially if you're learning the movement. This is a really great way to practice because you can't really go wrong with it. It's really hard to get hurt doing something like this, and it will set the motion up correctly. Okay, this is a good one. Remember this, and we'll talk later.